Welcome. My name is Penelope Chatterton. Welcome to Awaken the Dream. My friends, I have moved. It's been a while. I haven't been here for, I think, 5 months, and I've missed it, but I have been settling in, and moving is, well, there are no words for moving. It's tough. But anyway, I'm grateful to be here for Tim Riley being my director for many years, and he's a pistol at doing what he does, and he seems to know exactly what I'm doing, so more than I do. So thank you, Tim. And thank you, Liz Parker, also for writing a book called An Introduction to the Meaning of the Infinite Way. It's for people who don't want to read 50 books, or if they have, or all those lectures. There's so much material. She wrote this book as a guidance to help you to weave your way through all of the material. There's a lot of material, so it's gratefully accepted, Liz, and thank you. And I believe, Marty, your husband's helping out. And you also have an online group for those who don't have a group, which are many of us, and it's under goldsmithglobal.org, where if you want to tune in and get an opening introduction and hear a lecture or meditate with others, you have a group online. So thank you again, Liz and Marty. And thank you, Michael Krupp from Acropolis Books. He has inherited everything that Joel Goldsmith has written and said. He's got programs. You can tune into study programs. You can buy all the books. It's an amazing website, acropolisbooks.com. You might check that out. And I can't forget to thank Joel. I often don't. I don't take him for granted. But without Joel, who matched many of the occasions of my spiritual journey, I don't know where I would be doing what I'm doing. So thank you, Joel. And I hope you're listening. I talk to you, whether you like it or not, I talk to you. So today we're going to look at Spiritual Attainment Through the Door, one of your wonderful lectures in 1964, which was the last year of your life, but there were so many lectures that year. I'm fascinated. Now, I'm a little older than Joel. Next year, it'll be 60 years since he's been gone. And what I'm trying to acknowledge today is being of a different generation with different issues. I want you all to know whatever yours are, if they're not Joel's, it does not matter. Joel was a person that spoke of his experience being the teacher of his life. He preached, yes, he received messages. He was a channel for his journey, the infinite way. He was a Christian Science practitioner. He was a healer. He went many roads until he noticed a little politics surfacing with church work, and that didn't quite fit the mystic in him. So he went on, and what happened was the infinite way surfaced. He wrote books. He went all over the world. And frankly, Goldsmith Global is huge. It's huge. And he's not one of these New Age folks. He was born in the late 1800s, of which, by the way, I always give thanks to my grandparents who were Christian Science practitioners way back then. My father was a Christian Scientist, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot about perfection and illness and who we are. And I took that baton, and I'm glad I did. It was a great heritage for me. So thanks, Pop. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks, Nathan and Bernice. Now, back to the spiritual awakening through the door. Joel wants us to learn about meditation and what it really is. He wants you to know it's not an escape. You're not going to meditate to get out of here. You're actually going to meditate to get out of maybe this dimension, the human dimension, into the real dimension of the spiritual world. It's not an escape. It's an entry. It's an entry into the inner peace that God is reigning with you. You are a joint heir. He's waiting for you. He's knocking on the door of your consciousness. Behold, I am here. Pay attention. Now, that requires we do some work. We have to initiate that opening of the door. Only we can do it. And you know what? Living in this dimension where even Paul, I think in John, the Gospel of John, and the Christ, the Master himself, talked about the men of earth, the men of God. The earthly ones were called vipers and creatures and humans, and the spiritual ones were divine. So even Christ, with the actually discovery of the scrolls found out that what the Infinite Way was teaching mystically was given to Jesus, to many, that the Dead Sea Scrolls is the word I was looking for. The truth is there. Discoveries have backed up totally what Joel is preaching. Now, he often mentions this class he did in California where they all got together to try and figure out how businesses could get along. And this is this happened since the Dead Sea Scrolls and all these discoveries came up. And they realized that the Joel material was super, along with others who realized that love thy neighbor is the name of the game for you as an employer, for an employee, for those you are competitive with. It made everything work. It took us out of this realm. So Joel is so thrilled with how all those corporations in California got together and said, hey, this is the way we're going to go. And of course, businesses bloomed. Everybody worked out well. Everybody won, let's put it that way. So he talks about I, me, and my. I have come to give you peace, to give you the heavenly riches. Now, I have come, which means I am within you. I am your soulmate. I'm your partner. I can talk to you through hunches, through the still small voice. But basically the Infinite Way is trying to bring us to that place where we know we've done it right, when we feel relief. We all need relief from what's going on around us. And in particular, let's face it, it's intense. So once you get to that place where you actually breathe and say, I'm connected, I feel relief, I'm enjoying the presence, the perfection, the joy, the love, the abundance, I'm clothed, I'm fed, I have everything. Now, the trick, of course, is once you realize that and you have days where you walk on water and you find miracles are happening, which is your experience. I want to talk about that. All right, your experience. As Joel says, don't tell too many neighbors about this. And I have friends who say, well, that's nice, dear. Your experience is your experience. And everyone has different experiences. And not everyone can understand yours, nor would you understand theirs, which makes sense. An experience is an experience. It's something you go through, and it's real for you. It doesn't mean it's real for everybody. So in many ways, I think he's cautioning you about how you share. But share we will and we must. Share, we must raise consciousness, and that's our job. And I think once we connect and realize the love within me needs to be given out, we have to share it to have it. Yes, now think of all the ways you can share love. It can be groups. You can be a preacher. You can be a janitor. You can help your neighbor. You can volunteer everywhere. Everyone's screaming for volunteers. Everyone's screaming for help. I'm not sure quite why, but that people either don't want to work or whatever. Maybe they don't pay enough. But whatever it is, for you to feel abundant, you really have to share and give away and raise consciousness, not telling everybody what you're doing, but you're doing it so you feel it. I mean, when you have a day that you have served and you go home and you think, oh my God, that little miracle, it can be such a funny little miracle. And they say something about parking spaces, but honestly, it can be what was on the shelf that you didn't think was going to be there. Signals that the universe is totally with you, and your miracle can be so little and so huge. But serve we must. So when he talks about the Dead Sea Scrolls, these discoveries that are also in the book of John, Jesus, the Master, and Paul cannot say enough about the two men, the man of earth, which they call the creature, the viper, what else? The human, the mortal. And then we have the suggestion that we're pure and whole and complete, that we're loving, we're joyful, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're wise, we have everything. So we have the two men of earth, the man of earth and the man that's divine. So both the Christ, the Master, and Paul spoke of this in the Gospel of John. Now remember this as well. The Bible seems to be going through a transition of a rebirth of sorts. A lot is shuffling around there. I mean, people have there are various, varieties about the version of what the Bible is saying. So because of that, I think Joel is trying to get us to that Gospel of John where it's clear that we are divine, that we have everything, we are the Christ. So I don't quite know how we can deal with a Bible that changes so much. All I know is it's got to be simple. The message has got to be simple. It's love thy neighbor. That's what comes back. And Joel talks about I, me, and my. I stand at the door and knock. I have come that you might have life more abundantly. Abide in me. I, me. Abide in me. My grace I give to you. I, me, my. My grace is all there. It's waiting for you. Grace is the most beautiful word. Grace sums up all good. And you know what else is interesting? He was putting down a couple of words which fascinated me. Faith. Faith. He didn't think that was a great word. He said, faith, what does that mean? Does that mean you're there yet? I mean, is that law? He loves the word law. So it's so interesting that, we have many rituals in churches and in synagogues and everywhere. We have our own private rituals where he said, beware the spoken word. If it's a prayer and it's a bunch of words and it's not connecting you deeply within, like a baptism, if you feel washed by water. As a matter of fact, he said in history they often had to do that again because it didn't take. It didn't take because going beneath the baptism is the presence. So if you go to a ritual or a communion where you're chatting, but it's not going deep enough to feel the relief. I can't say enough. You need to feel relief being here. If you feel that relief, you're there. They all take you there. Those steps are fabulous. But if they're just rote, it doesn't work. You have a lot to learn, Joel says. You have much to learn about walking on water. So communion, yes, commune within. I don't know quite what that means for me. All I know is I feel like, if I want to communion within, I can carry on. And I do. I lift my soul with what I need to share, what I care about. I also hope in my communing that I ask that I can serve more or keep me going, especially doing Awaken the Dream. I mean, this has been 30 years of hosting, maybe 20 of them, and then finding the Joel material for 10. And I've been through so many chapters that I want this one to keep going, and I say, well, I'll keep it going as long as you keep me going. So, Joel, I'm talking to you. And he is my buddy. It's so interesting about people who pass. I mean, in mysticism, we talk about life existing forever. Now, Joel mentions the 23 civilizations that have come and gone. Can you imagine that? They've come and gone. They left artifacts. They left information that they were here, and they're gone. So what does that tell us? Are there 20 more or 23 more on the way? I think what it tells us is, yes, you can live and die and not be immortal if you haven't figured it out. But the mystics have figured it out all through history. There have been mystics that know that they rise. They are immortal. They're not mortal. They're immortal. They live forever. They know it. I know it. I've had some gifts that I always say to myself, gee, you owe the universe so much with what you've been given, between my dog coming within me and feeling eternity for a moment. And when I was doing a lecture in Orleans on the Cape, and I was talking about the death of my late husband, and all this energy flew into the room and knocked me over and others. It wasn't just me. When I realized they know we're here, I'm grateful for that. I thank the universe that those who have passed are still hovering. They're listening. I'm pretty sure of that. My late came to me once years ago looking absolutely gorgeous. He died at 26, and he never looked better. And I think the message was, I'm eternal. And I got that message so many times that I'm going to hang on to that too, because I know I am. And it's almost like I'm now actually entering a meditation class, which I've never done, and I'll tell you why. Because I've worked alone for so many years and I've moved a lot and I've been a single parent, what I learned in this meditation group with a hospice nurse who's a Buddhist helped me to see something I didn't think of. I do meditate alone, but I'm a restless character. I meditate and I'm up and I'm down, but I'm still meditating. But sitting in a group where you actually sit for a half an hour is different, and it's wonderful. And all I know is you practice being okay with the presence, even if you wander. And I heard a message that it almost prepares you for when your time does come. That's not bad news. It means that resting in the presence is not going to be something terribly foreign to you when your time comes to be eternal, that you'll say, oh, this is nice. I don't want to miss a thing. And I feel that way. When my time comes, I really don't want to miss anything. So hopefully I'll be well enough and not doped up. So anyway, spiritual attainment through the door says consciousness is waiting for you to open that door. You know, there are few rare folks. Joel says that actually God opened that door for them without them even asking. And he said that's a rare occurrence. I don't know if that's one I've had. I know when I first left my body, I was meditating, and I was inspired by a mentor who walked on water. I've had several in my life, and, you know, we have folks that, you know, sometimes we don't even talk about why we relate to one another, but we get it. On some level, we get it. So all I can say is I owe the universe a lot. So I'm still here, kids, you're kids. I'm still here. So let's figure out how the infinite way can help us. I have to tell you, honestly, it's a slow process for me. It doesn't mean it's not going to be for you, but for me, it's a daily workout. I mean, sometimes I think if I haven't meditated and I have a miracle, it's like, oh, maybe I'm on automatic. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is I need relief. And I hate to say, especially in these times, but they're pretty crazy. Or maybe we're just privy to more craziness. That's probably always been there. But the way, 60 years since Joel's been here, we're privy to information we may not want, but it's there. And that's the news. So I've stopped watching it. It's too hard. It's too hard. So what can we do to help a world that is perfect, but a lot of the world doesn't know it? You accept the fact that we are whole and complete, and God made the earth and everyone in it, and he said it was good. Now, he wouldn't have said that, or, he, she, or it. I mean, God goes out of his way to say, God's not a guy, and a guy's not a girl, it's an it. And that sounds weird, too. It's an energy. It's a spirit, friends. It's a spirit. A spirit's invisible. And it talks within you. It can meet every need through words, through actions, through miracles. It's a spirit. God is not a man. God is not a woman. God is not a golden calf. God is not a lot of things. But what God is an infinite loving spirit that's for always present, always, always, always present with you, waiting for you to open that door. That's all you have to do. And I do think, this is my opinion, that the world is more chaotic than ever, that I think more of us realize how hard we really have to show up and help. Because I'm sure religions share the same idea that we have work to do. Any religion, any synagogue, any faith, any spiritual practice has to rise up more than ever because of the noise and the hate and the self-preservation that the man of earth is always into. He's very selfish. The Christ knew it, Paul knew it, the viper. But there's another man within everyone. And think about that. Think about the divine spark. Hard to believe it's in everyone, but it is. We were created that way. God would not have given us this incarnation or any life without his spark right there, waiting for us to light it up. You open that door and it's alive. And I always say the worst person you can't believe it's there, but it's there. So let's look at it this way. Let's say someone's picking on you and they're nasty, or you don't like them, or what they stand for. Does it mean you have lunch with them? Not necessarily, but you give them grace in your heart. That's all you have to do. Just give them grace in your heart. Another thing I noticed in the political world, and I'll tell you about this. Marianne Williamson, who wrote A Return to Love, is a mystic, a Course in Miracles lady, and she's running for president. And as much as Joel says, don't be a Democrat, don't be a Republican, don't be an independent, don't go to anything where your world work means you have to hook onto a political party. Don't go there. But I will say one wonderful thing about even Marianne, who knows she's not going to win, but the fact that she is a spiritual woman who wants to spiritualize the world is encouraging. I mean, that's a new face. That's a new face. How far she gets does not matter. The fact that she's even showing up, to me, is a beautiful message. Because in our world work, where we think about who do I vote for, or my friends are in this party or that party, all you have to do is you look and pray for the spiritual work of whomever shows up as a spiritual being who cares about others, who's not going to be selfish and one-upping and competitive, who shows the qualities of the Spirit. And he said world work can be the hardest. And I can understand that. So my friends, I'm winding down, but I can't say enough for Joel's work and for Liz Parker and Marty and Michael Crump, Acropolis Books, and Tim Riley for hanging out here. Studying the Infinite Way with that introduction from Liz is, as I say, helpful for those who can get either confused or would like more of a thread as to how do we go through that. For some reason, I think the book came out after I did a lot of my work, so it wasn't there for me, or I might have been very interested. But anyway, I want to thank Liz again. And I also want to thank you, friends, for joining me on Awaken the Dream. A little poop from a move and unpacking and still trying to find stuff, but I'm warming up and feeling good and grateful to be here, and it's been too long, so thank you for joining me again on Awaken the Dream. We'll talk to you again soon.